Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All Bass Creations Effects Tutorials, Demos, and Review. Today we're going to be going over the Aguilar preamps that are available in it's one available in the Line 6 Pod Express bass, and we're going to compare that to the Zoom MS-60B's Aguilar amp in there, where they call it the AG amp in the MS-60B. And on the Zoom B6, they have one. It's called the AG7. What's this? 750. Yep, AG750. And then we have, excuse me, we got the actual Aguilar AG preamp. Now, the ones on the Zoom aren't based on the AG preamp. They just call it AG preamp because it's short for Aguilar preamp. But they're actually based off of the DB750 or something like that. They're bigger tube amp. That's what those are based off. The one on the Line 6 Pod Express is actually based off of the Tone Hammer preamp. And of course, the AG preamp is the exact preamp from the actual Aguilar AG preamp. Bass head rather. So basically, let's get right into it. Here's my bass without any of that stuff. So that's my bass, flat. Well, not flat, but that's the basic sound we're gonna go with, just to keep it consistent with the different preamps. So let's start with the Line 6 Pod Express bass on Studio. I have this as a preset already that I altered and saved, where it's just a preamp, no other effects, no compressor, none of that stuff. And also, just a quick thing, I set all of the amps to around 3 o'clock on the bass, and to around I generally, if depending on if it's set to the low frequency, low mid frequency, I generally cut that by to maybe 11, 10:30, 11 o'clock. Or if it's the high mids, I usually boost that to around 2 o'clock. Um, as well as I have all of the highs set to around 3 o'clock as well. So all the treble knobs are set to around there as well. And if I do have a mid frequency sweep on there, it is set to around 250, 300. So, all right, here we go. Let's start with the Line 6 Pod Express Studio. So that is the studio amp on the Line 6 Pod Express bass. And, you know, this is the best part about this Line 6 pedal, the only part I really like, is the amp model. They're pretty okay. You know, you can get away with those. One thing I will stress is when I'm using amp models, I'm not actually expecting it to sound exactly like the amp is modeling. I just expect it to give me more of the characteristic of the brain. So, for instance, when I'm looking at an ampeg amps, SVTs or B15s that are on different models, I'm listening. Does it give me that ampeg sound? The same way the SGT gives me an ampeg sound, the Aguilar actual analog preamp gives, the AG preamp gives me a nice Aguilar sound. Like there's a sound to each brand, that I like. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of it. Some things they say they're transparent. They just mean it doesn't color it as much, or it might not be adding as much harmonic distortion. But every brand has a particular sound to their amps or their preamps and things like that. So with that, let's move on. So that was the Line 6. Let's get a little bit more to that real quick, and then I'm gonna move on to the MS-60B. Let's do this. This is the Line 6 again, one more time. So doesn't sound bad at all. Definitely usable. Um, Here's the MS-60B on the, and just so you guys have the actual settings real quick, the bass is set to 7. The mids are set to, let's put those, at -3. Well, no, yeah, let's put those to -3. Eh, let's set them to 0. And we're going to set this mid frequency to 800 on here. Gain is 31 and master volume is 150. None of the character deep or brighter on. And the mix is set to 0 and the cab is off. That joint's fire, actually. That is a really decent sounding preamp, especially if you're not trying to compare it to an actual one. I mean, it's really, really, it's close enough where if you let two normal people listen to it, um, they'll have a hard time distinguishing between the two, especially on a record. Like maybe by itself, yeah, because that DB, that actual amp sounds crazy in person. It just sounds just absolute monstrous power to it. So, for them to get you even where anywhere near close for something that has that's $120, that's kind of crazy. But let's hear that in the line six back to back. So this is gonna be the MS-60B. All right, line six, bass express. That was the line six. MS-60B. So and so let's move on. That kind of gives you a good range of what each unit sounds like on that setting. And here's the AG750 on the Zoom B6 over here. Doo-doo-doo. So that's the Zoom B6 one. And my settings are 84 for the bass. Mid is set to 50. So I just kept that one at noon. Um, I'll cut it to 34 just so you guys can hear that next. But I had it set to 50 there. And the treble is set to 84. And the gain is set to 21. No bright, no deep. Um, and volume is set to 72. So let's hear that with the mids cut to 34. As you can see, that's a very nice sounding. That's a very nice sounding preamp right there. You can literally take that and an IR and you can roll to a gig with it. That's why I love the Zoom B6 because the amp models on that joint and the IRs together is fire. And the compressors are good. You got plenty of good compressors on there, multiple of them. Not just one, and they're all everything is bass specific. It's specific versus a lot of times the Helix and Line 6 stuff is more guitar based and it's just they're hoping that you can get some bass use out of it. It doesn't have the same bottom and fullness that an actual bass effect